Sublime magnificence.
Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How are you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis Feo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen, a special episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen. And as usual, I am joined by my co-host and runaway, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Phil Smith.
Hey Omari, thank you so much for having me back as always. Love being here, love doing this thing. 3 years of it, sir?
Three.
3 years.
Años.
I know we've talked about it before, but anybody who might be new to the channel, this man spent some time out here. We live far away from each other now, and we had our first time in person in a long time. And then once it was over, it was like, damn it, we need to interact more. How can we figure out how to do this? What if we, like, maybe I join you on Twitch for something? You mainly play PC and PlayStation. I mainly play Xbox. There was a roadblock there. Eventually, we just talked about how we could do like a podcast thing. So we could schedule like a thing that we can schedule, because that's how adults hang out now. Is they schedule things.
Yeah, like every once in a while, just do a video or something about it. And before we knew it, 156 weeks later, here we are.
Here we are.
Year 3 in the bag. And like every year, This Guy Hasn't Seen, we've done award shows about the year that just passed. And so we're doing another one of those, a nice little special awards thing, just going over the year, the videos that we watched, and putting them into different categories that'll come up as we go on.
Yeah, it's a great way to remember the year, look back at these. I'm like, all of this is selfishly done. If one person watches this, that's awesome, but it was done for me. I did this for me so I could hang out with him, and so that I could watch these movies and have a way to choose movies, because I'm crippled by too much choice. And so I love getting forced into watching something every other week on occasion. And then I'm also terrible with my memory. So I love that then now we have 3 micro catalogs of what we watched that I maybe can someday go back to and say, boom,
Yeah.
here
I
was
remember
this
when we
year
did this.
that I watched these things. Here's this year that I watched these things.
Yeah, no,
Because
hey.
just in compiling this list of what we're going to talk about today, I was like, oh God, we watched that this year? Okay. Oh God, what is that? I don't need, no, literally have no memory of this. What is this?
Hey, you're
This
not
one, oh, that feels 2 weeks ago, and it was 7 months ago. Oh, that
right.
one was 3 months ago, and it feels like 4 years ago. We've only been doing this 3 years. So I'm terrible at memory. So this is, again, just another selfish thing that I like to have in our catalog.
I've had similar cognitive experiences with that, when the way you explained it about, wait, we did this, or that was this year type deal. But I will say you're not the only selfish person out of this. I mean, I like the fact that this forces me to make content and release content, because otherwise, when it comes to like solo projects, I get in my head and that gets in the way of a lot of things. But this is like, oh, I gotta put it out there. We recorded it. It's not just me. But no, I love it. And I love the experience itself. There have been so many movies that I should have seen, but I hadn't. So this helps me broaden my horizon as well. But yes, we will go ahead and hop into this with the first category. Now, for those of you guys who are new to this and you decided to watch the awards show first, simple format to the show. We generally bring on a movie, one guy's seen it, the other guy hasn't. Most of the times it's trading back and forth. Sometimes we do week to week. Sometimes we have guests on the show. And I believe that's our first category, is our favorite guest episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't do a great job of this in 2024 early 2025 in this season. We could do better, and I hope to honor that statement in the coming season for sure.
It's a couple categories
before
where
we
I
get
thought
into the
that about.
nominations.
Yeah, a couple categories I thought that about as well. But yes, so that said, we did have 3 guest episodes this year, so uh, automatic honorable mentions coming in here. But the 3 guest episodes we had, all with different people this time though. But all friends of the channel who have had videos before. We had the coffee table with Fluffles, brought that in for us. We had a music video episode with Super Jazz. And we had a wrestling episode, one of our mini wrestling episodes where we trade matches with Big Bro Ibit.
Listen, wrestling was hot in these streets this past season, and one of the co-hosts was very into wrestling this past season. So yeah, we ended up getting a lot of wrestling episodes in here.
Yeah, we were a wrestling channel this year.
We're gonna make some adjustments. This is another reason why I love these award shows. Give you a snapshot of what we're doing and how we could maybe tweak things. Because like I've talked about before, I want a big, diverse, random, fucking weird catalog of things. And every week that we do another mini wrestling episode is another week that we're not putting in something weird, potentially. So,
fair. Yeah. But yeah, this was a wrestling channel this past year. I think that was the story of the Feo Grande network this year. Was a wrestling channel. That said, so I think for me it was a pretty easy choice just because I hadn't seen anything like it for real, or it caught me off guard. Not to go too far into it, but I went with the coffee table.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of maybe what you have to, because I mean the category is favorite guest brought movie. You could change the category to favorite guest brought thing.
Yeah, I just did favorite guest episode. I'm not gonna lie to you because we only had the one movie.
Okay. Yeah, I had it just directly copied from whatever we typed last year. So if I do favorite guest brought thing or episode, I will pick Omega Danielson.
That is entirely fair. I didn't think
that Ibn brought us.
Yeah, I didn't think you would pick coffee table if that was the stipulation, because if I remember correctly, at least at the time of our episode recording, you didn't finish the coffee table.
I did not.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't think that you would pick that one. But yeah, shout outs to Fluffles and shout outs to Big Bro Ibn. We got Omega versus Danielson. Fantastic match. I think that was the one that ended in a draw. Fantastic match.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Ibn, and congratulations, Fluffles.
Yeah. So that said, we'll go out to our next.
However, I will give, if we're going to give a singular winner to this category, I would bow to the coffee table, as in, just like I said in that episode, from what I saw, I could recognize its craftsmanship and I could recognize what it was doing and where it was going to go. I think I predicted the upcoming plot pretty well. That I didn't watch. It was just a movie that I preferred not to watch. So I would give it to Fluffles on that regard if we were to just pick one.
Fair enough. I think we usually pick. Sometimes we pick separate. Sometimes we end up agreeing, but for the most part, it's like you get one, I get one. But we can see.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I'll take it for number 2. We have most standout moment. Now we usually try and keep a segment in this in these episodes when we're talking about movies of just kind of like we start to, we open up, here's why we watched it, here's what's going on, here's the movie, here's the basics of the plot. And then once we start to get into more of a free-form discussion, it's just kind of the standout moments of the movie. What do you remember from the movie? When this movie is said, title is said, what's the thing that jumps into your brain? I'll run through my nominees real quick. Most standout moment. I have My Song from Moulin Rouge, the medley of love songs that is sung between Nicole Kidman and my God, fucking Ewan McGregor.
Oh yeah, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
I forgot it was Ewan McGregor again.
I have the call from Taken.
Ooh, that's a good
I mean, it's a reason why it's a standout. It's a reason why it spawned a franchise. And I hadn't seen that was one that you brought to us, and I'd never seen it, and then that came up. And even though I've probably seen it in its entirety, honestly, but even though I know it and it's so ubiquitous in pop culture, it's still
the delivery.
It still hits. I have the call it scene from No Country for Old Men. Javier Bardem and the old man at the gas station when he's flipping the coin and making him call it for what we know would be his life. That scene, so tense, so incredible. And then I have the fight about 3/4 of the way through They Live between the two protagonists of the film. Just like the years past, I have blocked out my nominees, and I love to choose right here in the moment, live on camera. And most standout moment, I think I am going to give to My Song from Moulin Rouge.
I like that. I like your nominees for it. I think I got this a little. So, at first, I kind of mixed this up with another category that'll be coming up in a moment. Mm-hmm. So I had to move some of my nominees over. That said, I did have some moments where I'm like, if I think about this movie, like you said, what do I think of? And you had some great ones. Like, I was thinking something that caught me off guard when I first watched it, and I just liked the delivery of the scene itself. In King of New York, when Christopher Walken walks in on those gangsters around the table, and he just shoots the motherfucker and just challenges everyone in the fucking room. Like, okay, Christopher Walken is not the gangster to fuck with. Like, I like his performance in that movie. Summer Wars, the climax with the Koi Koi and the Hanafuda. Koi Koi!
That was almost a nominee. Was almost a nominee for me. I felt weird just typing out the general climax, but it was because I had the same thought. I should have.
I just typed out Koi Koi, like Koi Koi, Koi Koi. But that scene, I had the big fight because I should have thought about the fight from They Live, but I thought of another movie that was in a similar vein, Big Trouble in Little China. The final fight in the setting they had for it and how ridiculous it was, as well as No Country for Old Men, the call it scene. And finally I had, because I wasn't expecting it to go down the way it did, Parasite, when the basement guy came up and just started going, nuts near the end.
Yeah.
Because that was just, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, that's almost a nominee for the next category too. Like you
also
said,
true.
What just happened? Kind of a synonym to WTF.
True, but that was more
we've had trouble in the years past that those are very shades of gray categories.
Yeah, I put it more in standout because in the moment, it was just like, it made sense in the moment. It wasn't just like, what am I watching? Yeah. But it just caught me off guard at the same. It was weird. It stood out. Like, oh yeah, that was a crazy thing or really good crescendo. That said, I'm going to go ahead and pick through these. Wait, which one did you pick? My Song. You picked My Song.
But that shouldn't factor in on your selection.
Oh, no, because I didn't have My Song on there. That said, I think I'm going to go I'm gonna go with the call it scene.
Nice. I almost picked that. That maybe ended up being my second choice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with call it because that again legendary monologue. Yeah. So that was that. So now we mentioned the next category, and that's the
Yeah.
what the fuck moment, or WTF. Sorry, YouTube, I cuss. Anyway, the what the fuck moment, like in the movies. So I'll go ahead with some of mine. The first one I could have included this whole movie, but I just included a specific scene from Tammy and the T-Rex. I chose the charades with the dinosaur because that was crazy. I could have picked a lot of things. It was real hard for me to choose, but I went with the first thing that popped into my head, like that I could vividly remember, and that was the charades. Dead Leaves was another thing where I could have chose the whole fucking movie, but probably something. Or the dude with the fucking, was it a dick drill?
Yeah,
Dick drill.
There's a lot of moments in Dead Leaves that could be WTF moments. Yeah.
Doom is an honorable mention again as a movie. I don't have a specific moment, but that's why I didn't pick it as a winner. And then there was Moulin Rouge, the Like a Virgin song, came out of nowhere for me, and I'm like, what are we doing? Everything else was. I don't even think I brought it up as much when we actually reviewed it, but that caught me off guard. I'm like, wait, oh, and he's not just doing like the chorus. We did the whole fucking song. That said, that's not as weird, especially in the year 2025, as a fucking T-Rex playing charades. Trying to, I think that was the point where, I mean, that movie had a lot of stuff going on in it, but I think that was the point where I was just like, what are we doing?
Absolutely. For me, on my most WTF moment, things that make me go WTF, there were a lot of things that I could have typed down. All of the ones that you said, all were very good. But for me, I only had to have one nominee because it was instantaneous. It may be the most for sure thing I've ever thought of in these awards. The most WTF moment is the moment in the coffee table.
Ooh. Okay.
For me, I mean that is the thing that said that, like, I don't know if anything in this life has ever made me say what the fuck more than the moment in the coffee table.
That's a good choice. I like that.
So I can't imagine anything else giving me, because it is a wide range of, like, it can be anything from a what the fuck to some dinosaurs giving some charades.
Yeah, no, I like that take on what the
did
fuck.
They just fuck? I don't know.
Yeah.
That can be a what the fuck, as in, like, what the fuck am I watching? What the fuck? Who the fuck did this? And then there's a what the fuck? What the WTF?
Yeah. No, that's a good WTF.
So that was mine for most WTF moment.
No, that's a good one. I like
Double
that.
win so far for the coffee table.
Yeah, coffee table.
All right. Now we're gonna go into most disappointing. These are now in kind of, these next two are kind of directly at what the other person brought. Just by unfortunate design of the category, because it kind of it often. Well, I mean, you can find ways where you're like, because you because that's true. There is the movies that you could have remembered fondly.
Yeah, remembered favorably,
and then it disappointed you in that way. But I feel like they're mostly going to end up being about what the other person brought, potentially.
Yeah.
So in my most disappointing, I have Faster and Man from Tomorrow.
Toronto.
Man from Toronto. And for my selection, I think it's pretty easy for me that my most disappointing is going to be Faster, just because it's a rock movie of that era that I'm pretty into those rock movies, and it's a pretty easy sell for me. And like we talked about on that episode several times, they're not really making a The Rock movie.
No.
They're making two other movies, and then they're also throwing The Rock into it. And
Yeah.
The Rock is still trying to do a little bit of his Rock things. So now it ends up being almost three movies.
Yeah, I like the Rock's aspect of the movie, but like you said, they do too much, and it just kind of takes away from everything. So I agree with Faster. Faster was on my list.
As far as in that category for me, I was really trying to think of like where were my expectations at, and then what happened.
Yeah.
And I think you got a Kevin Hart and a Woody Harrelson. Like, okay, this could at the very baseline be pretty funny, and then it's just kind of it's just a fine movie. It's just okay, and then on Faster, it's like, okay, this could be one of the Rocks that I didn't see that is like Walk Hard or The Rundown, or
Classic Rock.
Yeah, or not Walk Hard, Walking Tall.
I want to say Walking Tall.
The one with the 2x4
Yeah.
is like his gimmick. He does a hacksaw Jim Duggan. Yeah, and then Faster probably ended up being a worse movie for me in my memory than Man from Toronto, which was just kind of like a basic movie.
Yeah, it was Kevin Hart.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Faster on that. What about you?
Faster was a nominee for me. Ultraman Rising.
I almost had it on there just because I have hardly any memory of it, and I just feel like it was just kind of same like Man from Toronto. Just kind of in my memory, just feels like a generic movie.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's just you think about Ultraman and you think about kaiju fighting robots and stuff, but it ended up being more Ultraman raising a baby. And that's where one of those things where I also was like, well, maybe certain things would be cool about it. And watching it, again, I did like it more the second time than I did the first. That said, I was still like let down of just how much the baby raising was part of the movie compared to the other part. That said, I'm picking Faster.
What your expectations of what the movie could have been?
Yeah. That said, I'm picking Faster for the same reasons you are.
All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Faster.
Congratulations to Faster. You let us down, Rock. Won't be the last time people say that. Anyway, we go on to the most surprising in a good way. So I'll go ahead and go with this one. My movies, I have The Coffee Table making another appearance. I have Moulin Rouge, because I did not expect to like Moulin Rouge because I'm me. And I also had Babes in Toyland. I literally stole a gesture from it.
It's true. That is true.
I literally stole a gesture from the movie. And that movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Not saying it's a great movie, but it was better than I thought it was going to be, and I was thoroughly entertained. Now that was a cool thing.
Like
that
what you get out of the movie.
Yeah, what you get out of the movie.
It's not a good movie.
Yeah,
but
it's a better movie than I thought it would be.
You can still get a lot of enjoyment out of it because of how bad it is, kind of.
Yeah, and same
but
thing
also,
with like and also I really like that guy's performance. But yeah, also the experience watching it was it's a unique video for us on the channel. It was a watch along.
That's true.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That said, I think if I'm going to do it, I think I'm gonna go Moulin Rouge. I strongly thought about doing Coffee Table again. Give a Coffee Table like 3 fucking awards.
Triple category winner.
Which I'm not picking it just to avoid that, but I think I'm gonna go Moulin Rouge because I did not know what to expect. Well, I didn't know what to expect from Coffee Table, but I did not expect to like Moulin Rouge as much as I ended up liking it.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
For my most surprising in a good way, I have in here Dead Leaves.
Okay.
You never know what you're getting from an anime. And wow, Dead Leaves was out of control. It was crazy. I can't even really tell you anything about it. I just remember it just being wackadoo, fun, um, uh, 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 really fast, really interesting stuff. I have Taken because the expectations were low.
That's
Were
fair.
low. And it ended up being, and then I was like, oh, duh, Bill. I mean, this did spawn like what, 3 or 4 movies. Like, there's a reason. Like, there's a reason. The first one is probably at least good. I realized to myself after watching it. But yeah, it's still not a great movie for me or anything. But I mean, my expectations were so low, and then I was like, oh, it is a good movie. And then I have Summer Wars, which is a really good movie. It's so good, and it made me fall in love with the creator of that film. And I've now watched. I now own that on Blu-ray, and I also have seen and own Wolf Children on Blu-ray, which may even be a better film than Summer Wars. It's so good. I love his voice, and yeah.
I've
So
not seen Wolf Children. Fair
I
enough.
am I am going with Summer Wars.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, Summer Wars. Good movie. All right, so that's most surprising in a good way. And I guess we move on. Best acting performance.
Is that me going first on this
I
one?
believe
Is
so.
that my turn? Oh yeah, sorry. The way you were doing it slowly, I was like, I bet I was supposed to jump in here. Best acting performance. I have for me, I have Javi. And listen, going through, we did a lot of really good acting performances this season. This nominee list could potentially have been so long.
It was a very bipolar season when it came to like Oscar winner, followed up by that. So yeah, a lot of Oscar winners in this one.
I narrowed it down to Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men, Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, Ana de Armas in Knives Out, and Michael Keaton in Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton in Beetlejuice is I think is the one of these is not like the other. That would be the Michael Keaton in Beetlejuice, but I have to acknowledge just like one, how absolutely iconic that is.
That role was.
That role was and what he did with it. I mean, that's not existing IP. There is no Beetlejuice that he's looking at a comic book and being. That's just Tim Burton and Michael Keaton just creating this fucking ridiculously outrageous character that has become iconic, and it is nothing like Michael Keaton. I feel like I grew up for a long time not realizing that Batman and Beetlejuice were the same person.
Yeah, that
Because
same.
it's so different. It's like if Batman played Joker. Um, so I have to acknowledge that Ana de Armas, such an amazing breakout performance in Knives Out. The amount of tension that she's asked to perform, the dramatic scenes, the crying on command moments that she has to do in this film. A ton of acting in this movie. Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, iconic. You had Goodfellas and Raging Bull. You had Joe Pesci and De Niro in both of them. I kind of just challenged myself in the moment, pick one from all four of them because it's all kind of the same. And I could have honestly rolled a dice and picked any one of those four performances from those two men. But I settled with Joe Pesci, Goodfellas, and then who's
No Country.
probably going to Javier Bardem, No Country for Old Men is so good. It's so quiet, it's so subtle, it's so weird. But is it my winner? I don't know. I shouldn't be silent. I should talk this out vocally. Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, incredible, iconic. Ana de Armas, she's a newcomer. This was a breakout. She may have plenty of other roles. I don't think she's in this category anymore with Joe Pesci and Javier Bardem. Michael Keaton, you could argue the most iconic of all of everything that we're talking about. But it doesn't have that dramatic, but it is off the charts committed.
Don't gotta be dramatic to be.
It's off the charts committed. It is off the charts. I'm giving it to fucking Michael Keaton from Beetlejuice.
Ooh, okay.
Best acting performance of the season.
I like it. So I had Mr. Poitier, and Guess Who's Coming for Dinner.
Yep.
I also had Javier and No Country. I had De Niro from Bull. For you to talk about those four things, I just kind of picked one and was like, all right, I really liked his performance in that. I had a lot of recency bias in a couple of the other ones, like the villain in Unforgiven. That's not Dustin Hoffman. What's the guy's name? He's in everything. I always forget his name. The villain dude in Unforgiven. He's a legendary actor. He's the sheriff dude. Okay, yeah, him. What the sheriff dude from Unforgiven? I feel so bad. I always forget his damn
Clint
name.
Eastwood?
No, the antagonist.
Oh, my brain leaks like a sieve. It is the gentleman that just passed away. His name, he was in Gene Hackman.
Gene
Hackman. Jesus Christ.
Hackman.
Like a sieve. My brain is a cheese grater.
Gene Hackman. All right, yes, I like Gene Hackman's performance in Unforgiven. I feel so bad whenever I forget this man's name. That said, oh, and I also shout outs to the Parasite dad. The dad in Parasite, I really liked. He had a lot of silent or subtle performances and stuff.
Yeah, very cool, very good.
Especially
the
through line about the smell. So
yeah, the subtly building of that. Oh, yeah. Great shout on the dad from Parasite.
And I'm gonna give it to Javier.
Nice.
Javier Bardem.
All right. That's Javier Bardem and Michael Keaton for our best actors. Next category.
Well, when there's a best, there has to be a worst. That's just how it works. 53 movies, it is that. 52 movies, that's how it is. That's it. Well, 51. This is episode 52. Bottom line is, we got the worst. So, this was a shorter list for me. I chose the 50 Cent and Get Rich or Die Trying, or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in Faster, and I couldn't decide. I literally typed someone from Tammy. That said, I'm probably gonna go with, especially because it's not even his typical thing. Like 50 Cent's playing himself. Whatever. Tammy and the T-Rex, I can't pick one person. So I'm going Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Faster. Unless I forgot something off the top of my head, but that's what I'm going with. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You could do better, Rock.
For my worst acting performances, I have Jean-Claude Van Damme in The Quest.
Ooh, The Quest. Not even Last Mercenary.
No, The Quest.
All
I
right.
have James Remar in The Quest.
Which one was James?
He's the American that Jean-Claude steals the invitation from.
Okay.
And tries to impersonate it first. And then he's the guy who just kind of shouts encouraging things at Jean-Claude for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah. That's fair.
I have Stone Cold Steve Austin in The Condemned. I have 50 Cent in Get Rich or Die Trying. And then I have the entire cast of The Quest. And my award is going to go to the entire cast of The Quest.
Claude from The Quest. I have this other guy from The Quest. 50 Cent and a wrestler, much like I had. And then the entire cast of The Quest. That's fair. You know what? That's fair.
Yeah, I decided pretty immediately that I wanted to give it to the entire cast of The Quest, but then I also figured out that I needed to shout out James. I needed to specify Jean-Claude and James Remar in particular.
That's fair. I think I like the American dude in that movie, but it's been a while. I forgot the acting performances in The Quest. I'm not even gonna lie to you, so I don't blame you. But yeah.
All right, next category here. I have a movie you would most like to show your friends. I kept my nominees short on this one. I was thinking crowd of like good size of people, like 4 in total, including yourself, or more.
All right.
That's not necessarily a good size crowd. I guess that's a good size crowd these days. But even more than that, a movie you would throw on at a party, a movie you would throw on at a group hangout.
Yeah.
Usually these I like to be movies that you're not fully committed to, that you can check in and out of. So for that reason, my nominee list starts out a little odd in nominees being Babes in Toyland and Tammy and the T-Rex, for both being factors of just any moment you could potentially be looking at the screen and go, what what's happening
Lots
here?
of talking points.
They're throwing there's a trap door that they're throwing a bunch of cookies into. What's going on? So I have those two, and then for more of like a more little bit of a dimmer light, chill, like dinner party. Maybe we're passing around something and just kind of hanging out. I got The Faculty.
Ooh, that's good.
And my winner is going to be Tammy and the T-Rex.
Nice.
For a movie I would most like to show my friends.
So, I went in a similar vibe. I also have Tammy on my list. This is assuming my friends haven't all seen these movies, which I feel like they have. But Big Trouble in Little China I had on there.
It's a good one, yeah.
Specifically, especially for the Florida friends, let's assume they hadn't seen it yet, I picked Sonic 2. And then Hot Rod.
Ooh, yeah.
Was a movie that I picked. That said, I think I would have to go with Tammy as well. That's perfect for, non-sober get together. What we watching?
Yeah. I mean, if you've ever been like a mystery science theater kind of vibe, or backtracks, like that kind of vibe, or riff tracks. Backtracks is the license-free music that we used to use back in high school.
Okay.
The like case of like 20 CDs.
Yeah, I'd say Tammy's a good movie for that, and I'd probably pick Tammy out of those. Because, if you haven't seen... I think that's also the one my friends are less likely to have seen. So,
all right, on the flip side of the coin...
The movie you would most recommend to your mother. Guess what Sunday was? Mother's Day. That said, how appropriate at the timing. I would say I only had 2 because I'm thinking about my own mother here. And a lot of these movies I'm not sure, like while she's never really straight up been, I don't want to watch this. There's certain vibes where I'm like, I don't think my mom would vibe with this. That said, I thought Knives Out and Moulin Rouge as the 2 movies. Because I think they were the acting in Knives Out and the story and the whodunit aspect, talking with my mom about that would keep her intrigued. Because we watched a lot of violent movies, and my mom, while she's not anti-violent, she liked football. She got me into football, so it's not like my mom's anti-violent. But yeah, that's also not her main thing. She's not like, so I'm like, Knives Out, that's a good one. And then I did Moulin Rouge because that's a nice musical performance and all of that. It's a very safe movie. But I think even with me saying that, I would probably pick Knives Out more because I think she'd get a better kick out of trying to figure out who the actual murderer is.
That's cool. I like the idea of that. I like the idea of your mom watching that and getting super into the mystery of it. My mom would watch a lot of movies, but she didn't. I don't think she really liked a lot of movies. She had a very narrow taste of things that she actually liked and would keep rewatching, but she did watch a lot of things. So technically a lot of different...
Shout out to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, because Sidney Poitier, legendary black actor.
Yeah, that's definitely a mom movie. A lot of things across this season would be things that I would have her see, or she would already have seen on her own. But more on my mom's vibe of things would be probably nominees Moulin Rouge. I mean, two of these things were my mother's things. They were staples in our household. Moulin Rouge, she really liked that, and she owned that, and she bought the CD soundtrack, and as soon as she got a CD player in her car, that was definitely one of the CDs in the rotation. That and like Enya. Babes in Toyland. The reason I was able to play this, to put Babes in Toyland on our channel, is because my mother showed me Babes of Toyland first. Nobody knows fucking Babes of Toyland. It was on YouTube for free. We've now re-put it up on YouTube and for free, and nobody's knocking at the door for it. Not a single soul is like, hey now.
The AI bots aren't even like, the AI copyright bots don't even give a damn.
And then Sonic 2. I feel like the current Sonic franchise would be up my mom's alley. That would be something like I would probably get a phone call of like, because I think I want to say she was going to see the Despicable Me's in theater, and I don't know, I just feel like the Sonics would be another one where I would be getting a phone call of like, I'm going to see Sonic. In that regard, because it's the only thing that I'm kind of just guessing on that's a future possible thing, I would say the Sonic franchise. We'll go with Sonic 2 is going to be right up my mom's alley.
I like that. So Knives Out and Sonic 2.
All right, not a lot on this category. Another thing that that you were talking about, we're gonna switch up for the coming season. Best non-movie thing presented. Now we had a ton of wrestling content, obviously, as we mentioned, and then we have our episode where we shared musical performances, where those in specific were Kendrick Lamar and Imagine Dragons performance at I believe at an award show. We had Chris Stapleton performing at an award show. And then we had a segment from a Rammstein concert.
Yes.
Concert.
Fire Fry, if I remember correctly.
And then we had a ton of wrestling matches.
And then you included Heart of Darkness.
Oh, and then we
The
had one
documentary.
documentary. We had The Heart of Darkness, which was, of course, the making of the film Apocalypse Now. I am going to say does Heart of Darkness win by default because it's the only thing that was long? But I mean, Omega Danielson was an amazing match. It was an amazing match. How do you compare Omega? That Chris Stapleton performance is one of my favorite performances he's ever done.
Why'd you have to be so cold? Pretty sure that's the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm gonna give it to my man Chris Stapleton.
Okay. If we're choosing individual performances out of that one, I'm also going with Stapleton. I was going with the episode itself, but I'm going with Stapleton. I'm going with the episode itself initially because, unlike Heart of Darkness or the wrestling matches, it was a unique experience for the channel that I'm like, ooh, we should do this more often. Who knows? We may. We got a whole future ahead of us. But I liked the new experience. It was also a it was also a watch along. I said Babes in Toyland was a unique thing, but no, that was also a watch along thing. We did it in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool. I like those kind of like experiences. I enjoyed the experience of watching it. I loved discovering the new thing with Chris Stapleton. Like, that's why I would pick him up to 3. Like, I was the one that recommended Rammstein. So even though I like Rammstein, even I was like, they technically have other things, but I wanted to go with this.
And yeah, and I loved all 3 of these. I loved both of the things that you guys brought to the table as well. I really love Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, Kendrick and Imagine Dragons, great performance. But I think I like Stapleton's specific performance of that song that he did. Because I was just like, I almost ended up like, adding a new artist to the Spotify playlist type shit.
You should. He's got some great music.
I should.
That Tennessee Whiskey, Death Row, so good.
So yeah, I like the Chris Stapleton thing. So that was the best non-movie. Alright, so we're coming up near the end, and I already talked about when you got an objective one, you gotta have an objective the other. But we don't save this one for last. We gotta talk about the worst.
Worst movie. Worst movie. 2005's worst movie.
We have, for me, my nominees are Get Rich and Die Trying, Faster, 2 movies that have already been shouted out, The Man from Toronto, and another movie that's been shouted out, and The Last Mercenary. And after talking about it throughout this, if I'm going to be honest with you, I think I have to pick Faster. Starring Dwayne Johnson. Yeah. Faster. Fun fact, like most years, all 4 of my nominees movies I brought onto the channel.
My worst movies of the year. So I mixed this up into, it's kind of 2 things. So 1, I can't look at a list of the things we did this year and a question of worst movie and not acknowledge Tammy and the T-Rex and Babes in Toyland, because they are 2 terrible movies. I really enjoy watching those movies, but they are terrible movies.
You're not.
And then, like like the category could be the movies I enjoyed watching the least, and then it would not. Then Tammy and the T-Rex and Babes in Toyland would not be on here, but because it's worst movie, I can't not include those two in this list. And then I have Faster and Get Rich or Die Trying. And if the question is worst movie, the answer, I believe, is Tammy and the T-Rex. The movie I enjoyed watching the least was Faster. I don't know if you want to help me with that in picking one. What do you think?
As much as you are right about your objectively phrasing of what is worst movie, I cannot think of a time that I would watch Tammy and the T-Rex and not get some enjoyment out of it.
Absolutely.
It's not so bad, it's good, literally, but it's very watchable. And I just said I'd recommend it to other people. I'm not sure if I'm recommending Faster to anybody else. And that's why I was just like, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would recommend Tammy and the T-Rex because it's one of the worst movies of all time. Like, because it is so bad it's good. It's so bad that it's a hilarious watch. There's a T-Rex.
Well, yeah, it's
doing
hilarious.
charades.
Like, it's so bad it's entertaining, I guess is what I'm saying. That's why I meant to say, like, not so bad it's good. It was more of a semantics. But it's so bad it makes for a good watching experience, even though it's not a good movie. That's
Worst
why
movie
I
of the year is
picked
Faster.
them. Yeah, Faster. Which I think once again we are unanimous on our worst movie of the year. Because I think we picked Hostel last year unanimously.
I can scroll up pretty quickly, I think. Hostel last year.
Yeah. And
Also,
Players
while we're
Club.
here, best movie of the year for me last year was The Raid Redemption.
It was The Raid? Okay, you picked The Raid and I picked The Mask. Because of bias.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. And I know the worst movie year one
Players
was Players Club.
And then best movie for me was Children of Men.
Okay. Nice. I don't know what I picked year one. But
all right, well, that brings us
yes.
to the final category, the best movie of the year. Best movie of the year. 2025's best movie of the year. Best movie of the year. Okay, I have Goodfellas, The Faculty, No Country for Old Men, Moulin Rouge, Summer Wars. Goodfellas, classic American movie. It's going to be on a great list of all the great movies of great acting and moving them and directing them and moving them and movies and greatness. Goodfellas. Everybody knows it's good. Everybody knows it's great. We covered it. The Faculty, I think, is a perfect movie that doesn't get the credit that it can deserve for what it is. I think it's a great movie. I think it's got a lot of great teen acting. It's a teen scary movie with some sex appeal and rock music of the time, and I think you can make that kind of movie and it can be really bad, and they made that kind of movie and it's really good. No Country for Old Men, amazing. Coen Brothers, again, like Goodfellas, it just doesn't have as long of a time on the shelf yet, but it is going to be one of those great iconic American films. Moulin Rouge is so uniquely Moulin Rouge. Like, Baz Luhrmann has such a unique eye and a unique voice as a director and filmmaker, and Moulin Rouge is so incredibly specific to being Moulin Rouge, and there's not much anything else like it. Summer Wars changed me and how I view anime. It was a special experience. Got me into something that I wasn't prepared for. Because of the emotion tied to it, and because it's the only one here that was actually presented to me this year, I'm giving my award to Summer Wars.
All right. Yeah.
Best movie of the season.
I was surprised when you told me earlier you went and got it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
That's...
And then I immediately was like, what else has this guy done? And Wolf Children was his most recent release at the time, and it was accessible to us, and we watched it, and we loved that one too, and so I immediately bought that one on Blu-ray.
There we go. All right, so my best movie nominees were Goodfellas, No Country for Old Men, Knives Out, actually, I had on
Knives
my
Out
list.
almost got on my list.
And I had Parasite because of it, like, catching me off
Parasite
guard
almost got on my list, yeah.
Thing.
We watched a lot of good movies this year. I mean, I tried to keep the nominee list small for me, but there was a lot of them that I could.
Same, in all honesty. Like we said, there was a lot of bipolarity this season when it came to the movies. We went deep in the Oscar well. I mean, we started with Apocalypse Now. We started with a mission, bring back the Oscar movies. So I do remember that being part of the pitch for Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it.
Then we did Casablanca, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Yeah, I had Guess Who's Coming to Dinner on the list as well, but I think of this list, and I'm kind of deciding in the moment type deal, because why not? But I think of these, I would probably pick the one that I'm most likely to watch again, sooner than the others, and that's probably Knives Out. I could easily change that same thing if you ask me tomorrow, but I'm saying Knives Out today. Because I really enjoyed it. Like you said, the lead actors did a great job. Captain America, Chris Evans, good job. Daniel Craig cracked me up with his accent. Donut. With our donuts, got no hole at all. Or shit like that. But yeah, so there you have it.
All right, man. A random award to hand out. I was just scrolling through. Movie to receive the most views of the year. Do you want to make a guess?
We didn't watch that popular of an Indian movie this year, so I'm gonna go with Goodfellas.
It's our watch along of Babes in Toyland.
Really?
Yeah. We don't need to talk numbers, but yeah, it's not by a ton, but yeah, it's the Babes in Toyland episode. Just thought that was fun when I noticed it.
That is. We just after we shit on the fact that nobody wants to watch the movie. Apparently, that's our supposed to watch too. That's cool. Because yeah, normally it's the insert Indian movie here. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. But yeah, that's cool.
All right, man. Well, I'm excited for a whole nother year.
Whole new season.
What are our mission statements here? We want to get more guests.
More guests.
We want to do more like documentaries
or non-movie.
We want to do another musical episode. Do another musical performances episode. We really enjoyed that. We want to. Just in general figure out more of these things that we can live react to. I think create really fun episodes.
Yeah, I do like the watch along or live react. I do like that. And yeah, like I said, more like, non-movie stuff. Like you said, documentary, watch along with the music videos, that kind of as a whole. And yeah, more guest episodes. Gotta be coming soon, right? That said, tune in for what we do first. on this season. And you could go ahead and watch everything else on this channel. We got 3 years worth of content. I just told you 156 videos just of this show alone that comes out on Tuesdays. This guy hasn't seen. On Mondays,
Name a movie. We've either covered it or a lead actor in that movie is in a movie that we've covered, or we've done the
7 degrees
director
of
of that movie.
TGHS.
Do it. It's done.
Then we have on Mondays mock draft, wrestling, and other stuff that we draft. On Saturdays, we got You Don't Watch Sports, 2 guys, 3 topics, help you sprinkle a little information into your casual sports conversation, be a guiding light through the sea of casual sports talk. Whatever we want, whenever it happens. I also have a Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. Streaming Earth Day 240. You know what that means. Bill, you got anything else you want to say to folks at the end of year 3? No. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week with the beginning of season 4. What are we going to do? Surprise. Find out. Adiosness. Dang it.